Higgins. I now recognize former chair of the Border Subcommittee, Mr. Clay Higgins from the state of Louisiana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, ma'am, thank you for being here. Ms. Walden, in your testimony, your written testimony, you referenced the cybersecurity bill. You stated that the bill would help bring coherence to the multitude of federal regulatory approaches. The bill would have empowered the National Cyber Director to convene all of the relevant parties, including independent regulators, to develop a set of cross-sector minimum requirements that would have reciprocity baked in, whereby a business that operates in multiple sectors or that is in the supply chain of many regulated entities would only need to show they met the baseline once. You stated, I'm very confident this approach will both meaningfully improve our cybersecurity posture and reduce compliance costs. I hope Congress will continue last year's momentum and move swiftly to enact this legislation. I thank you for that statement, Ms. Walden, because that was my bill, introduced in the 118th Congress, the streamlining federal cybersecurity regulation. And we are indeed reintroducing that legislation in the 119th Congress. Mr. Chairman and my colleagues on both sides of the aisle in this committee, we should move forward with that legislation because it allows the industry sector to appropriately position themselves to spend less time and money in compliance with regulatory oversight and more of their energy and focus on actually accomplishing their missions as it regards cybersecurity. Ms. Walden, could you briefly discuss more in depth how compliance with current cybersecurity regulations frameworks slows down the efforts to actually counter threats?
Thank you for that question, and thank you for reintroducing that bill. It's quite an important measure, I believe, for the overall building of resilience in our cybersecurity infrastructure, our digital infrastructure. Right now, across the 16 critical infrastructures, and I would add a few others that haven't been designated, some industries are highly regulated and also have wonderful controls. They could do better. But I'm thinking like finance, for example, and other industries are just under the mark, and those are the ones that are the most vulnerable. And so we need to figure out a regulatory approach to bring the minimum baseline up so that we're all solving the same problem and doing it in an efficient and an effective way. And so the proposition that your bill brings forward is not only do federal departments and agencies that have regulatory authority need to fall in line, but the independent agencies need to do so. And they need to find areas where there's duplicity, and so we can eliminate that, find areas for reciprocity, and then cause all of our infrastructure to have minimum security requirements so that we're not causing them to just spend money on.
Yes, ma'am. I agree. I mean, the federal government should be a partner with the cybersecurity industry and the emerging technologies, including AI. We should aggressively support the industry and their ability to actually perform the mission. So regulations and regulatory oversight should not get in the way of that mission. Mr. Myers, my own confidential cybersecurity consultants that have helped me through 8 years in congressional service to We the People happen to be partners with CrowdStrike, and they have shared with me their assessment. They have the best technology in their opinion out there, and your Overwatch team is outstanding. So I'd like to address to you, you've been in the business of tracking criminal and state-sponsored and nationalist cyber adversary groups across the globe, and you deploy technologies to detect suspicious and malicious cyber behavior and stop increasingly sophisticated adversaries. Your words. I would ask you to comment on the lack of ability for the security sector to strike back. Would you just address that topic, and I yield to the gentleman's answer.
Thank you, sir. The security industry, I think, is primarily meant for defensive posture, one that we take very seriously, and I appreciate your support there. I think that there's a lot to be done to partner with law enforcement and those that have the intelligence community as well, and the military that have the titled authority to take those actions and to support those operations. And happy to share with you some of the previous successes in working through that. And as I mentioned in the testimony, I think it's time that we increase the cadence of those operations.
Thank you. My time has expired, but just yes or no. If you had the legal authority to strike back, if Congress gave the cybersecurity industry the legal authority to strike back, would you be able to effectively identify the bad actor and do so?
We have the visibility to identify many.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the indulgence.